name is Chris Nickson. I am a real estate agent. I also teach for MiRealSource. Right here on this fine shirt Debbie gave me. Debbie is going to be along with us. She's the director of education and training for MiRealSource. And today we are going to be going over how to do a CMA, and there's a couple ways to do it. And once I get going in the webinar, I'm going to turn off the screen you're looking at right now. And we're going to jump over to the screen that I already have MiRealSource pulled up on. So I'm going to turn my video off. Okay, so as you see, it starts out, there are a couple ways to do CMAs, and I'm just going to give you a brief overview of why a CMA is important, especially in today's real estate market. The way things are going now, you see more and more stuff with online, and discount brokers are creeping into the market, and your potential clients are getting information off of different various websites and all that other stuff. It's all part of the AI or artificial intelligence that's growing out there. So the way that you can separate yourself from all the noise that they hear is the human interaction with that client. And so one of the best ways you can do it is being really, really knowledgeable of the market area where you're doing a CMA to give your client the information to get that listing, because they're going to have bombarded with all kinds of information from all sorts of sources as to what the value of their home is worth. And a lot of the information is going to come from people who never looked at their home. So this is where you're going to really help set yourself apart and help get that potential listing. Also, knowing how to do a quick CMA will help you if you have a buyer who's a little bit unsure about how the market is going right now, what they feel is going to be a good offer for a house if they're a little bit unsure. You will help be able to provide them with good information that they can use to better determine where they want to be on pricing a home they're going to buy. The best way to do that is through the quick and dirty CMA. And I'm going to show you how we do both of those. There's a long one through Cloud CMA, and then what we call a quick and dirty CMA. Sorry about that. So I'm going to get started right now, and all CMAs start out with a quick property search and everything else from there. So I get a call from a client, a potential client. They give me their address, and they want me to come in and talk to them about what's their home worth and everything else like that. So the address that they're at is 44137 Balmoral Court in Sterling Heights. The first thing I like to do is come up here in the power search and see if there's any past history with this property in the MLS at all. So I just type in a basic quick search, and I get that in there, and nothing, no results found. That tells me right now that they haven't had any really activity. They probably bought it when it was new construction, but there's just nothing in there on the MLS right now, and that's okay. Not every property is going to start out in the MLS. I do want to preface this that I've already done basically the CMA, so some of the stuff I'm going to do I've already have pre-saved. So just so you guys know if on it. Please feel free to ask questions, and Debbie will try to answer them, or if I can, I'll answer them if need be. So we don't have anything up here that was in a previous MLS. So what we're going to do is we're going to run a property search for them. Basic MiRealSource, it's a residential property we're going to search on. Before I run a property search, what I like to do is come over here to the tax and go to BS&A online and try to find out the information on the home. So if you go to BS&A, you have to select a municipality. In this case, it's Sterling Heights, city of Sterling Heights, Michigan. This comes up, and then I type in the address up top here. And we run our search. And here indeed is the property. You enter on this, and it's going to bring up the information regarding the property, and this is what we call PRD, or public record data. So it's not like you're doing anything You know, it's not like we're going to some secret website. People have access to BSNA, and this is all a matter of what we call public record data. The first thing I see is who the owners are. It looks like a husband and wife here, which is good, because if your call came in and they didn't tell you that they were married, in order to enter into any kind of listing agreement, both people have to be, all parties that are identified as owners have to be there. This is also where you might see if the title had been transferred over into a trust. Now you're going to need to see if there's any documents, you know, since it's in the trust, who's responsible to sign on behalf of the trust and all that other stuff. So this is a good general place to start to see who you're going to be dealing with. Whenever I go on a CMA appointment, I always take a listing packet with me, just in case they like my presentation. And if they say they're ready to, you know, we're ready to go, on the off chance that they are, I'm already prepared. I don't say, okay, well, I'll come back in a couple hours with all the paperwork. So this is going to pretty much tell me relatively safe who I should be there meeting with. So in this case, it looks like a husband and wife. It tells me a little bit more on the property. If you're not familiar with BSNA, I have right here, it gives me my square footage. It tells me the year it was built. You know, just other information on it as you go through here. Also, BSNA is a good tool because the tax information is here. You can see if somebody is really behind in paying their taxes. It looks like they're all current. Building department, I like to check this once in a while just to make sure there are no outstanding permits out there that haven't been finalized. The reason I look at that is if I'm going into a listing and then someone goes to close the home, they could have problems with the local municipality. This is just for me to kind of look at, make sure there's no red flags in here that I may bring up with the people when I get the listing. The most important part is over here on the property information page, and it tells you all about the house from which you can start doing your search criteria in Paragon. I also print out or save this page, because if I'm going to do a CMA, I include this in my CMA so they know where I'm getting the information from. I've already done that. I'm not going to go through the steps to, you know, save something on my desktop, but I just save it to my desktop in a file so that when I do my CMA, I can pull this information in. So back here, we're going to start with our search. I'm going to look for properties that are residential properties that have pended or sold. And because we picked a sell date, we have to, a sold date, you have to create a date range. And I'm going to go back just 12 months for right now. Most CMAs, most appraisals rely more on sold properties than pending or active. So ideally, you want to look at sold or closed properties. The reason I like to include pending or actives in a CMA is because I want to give my potential client the true picture of what's going on in their area. In other words, who their competition is also going to be. If there's a couple homes that are active that are very similar to theirs, where do we want to be in pricing considered how their home is set up, how the amenities are showing online and everything else like that. So that's why when I do my CMA, I'm going to include active and pendings if they're there, but for pricing strategy at what's closed at to give them a better idea of where they might close at. So I include those in my search. I know the area pretty well, so I don't have to do a structure, style, or basement, because the area where the home is at, all the homes are very, it's one of those subdivisions that went up in the early 2000s where there were a couple hundred homes all built within the same area, and they were cookie cutter homes. So I don't have to fill any of that in. Just normally I would, but I don't have to here. The only thing that is a little different is some of them have more bedrooms. So I'm going to narrow it down to 4 beds and 3 baths. And the other thing was the square footage. So the above grade square foot, our property that we looked at, as I said, was 2,700 square feet. I'm going to go a minimum of 2,600 square feet to a maximum of 2,800 square feet. The reason I'm going to this is, like I said, I already ran this yesterday. I usually go a couple hundred square foot either way, see how many come up, and then I narrow it down from there. This is a good square footage to go with right now. The other thing, because of the area, in this particular area, there were a bunch of homes built in the early 2000s, and then there was another building boom in like 2016 to now. They're building a whole bunch of homes out there and selling homes, very similar. I don't want to use those newer builds in my CMA because it's going to kind of I'm not doing a fair comparison. So in this case, under my secondary criteria, I'm going to add a year built. The maximum I'm going to put in is 2005. That keeps me right around all the homes that were built in the early 2000s. Theirs was built in 1999 or 1999, and it also excludes all the ones that are brand new construction. Right now, and then the only other thing I have to do is select an area. So to select an area to search in, I'm going to come and click on the globe right here, and that'll take me to my map search. By the way, anytime you're running a search, if you want to go back and change the criteria, all you come up here to the title bar and click on criteria. It will take you back to criteria. We come up here to map search and click on map search, and it brings us back to the map search. The map search loads up. I'm going to type in the address. And in this case, the only reason I am adding in the city and the zip code is because yesterday when I was doing this, the map kept defaulting to another location. So normally all you really need is the street number, and you should be okay. So, and I'm going to go within a half-mile radius of that area. Let's see what it brings up. Should bring me right to the property. Oh, no, it did not. Oh, I clicked on search. Wrong thing. Here we go. I hate when this happens. Okay, we're zooming in on where the flag is, which is right there. Should have taken me to directly. For those of you familiar with Northern Sterling Heights, it's between Ryan and Mound, 19 Mile Road. I'm going to come right here. That's where the property is. It's a little court right there. I'm going to go within a half-mile radius, and we'll see what that brings me up. You could do the other search where you draw it out. For purposes of this class, I'm just going to do a half-mile radius, and I don't know why it's taking so long to load. There you go. It's showing me with 4 properties. That's a pretty good radius right there. We're going to click on search right here, and now it'll take me to the actual search. There you go. My computer, there you go. It's running a little slow this morning. My apologies. It's loading up. So you will see those 4 properties that have, again, met the criteria that I've set here. 26 to 2,800 square feet, less than 2005, 4 beds minimum, 3 baths minimum, and within a half-mile radius of the subject property, I get 4 properties. All of them are closed, so there are none that there are no actives or pending. So here are the 4 properties right here. Now, if multiple properties showed up, I would take the time to look through the pictures and the photos to try to get an understanding that they were all pretty similar. I would see if some showed photos of a finished basement where others didn't. I would try to get a little better understanding of what separated the properties between each other. And then I would select 4, maybe 5, but no more than that, of properties that best represented the neighborhood, so that I can give my client kind of like, here's the what seems to be the lower end and what they look like, here's the upper end and what they look like, and here's kind of what the medium pricing and what this looks like in your neighborhood. Again, it's a phone call I received. I haven't seen their home, so I don't want to I don't know where to price it. I don't know if they're at the lower end with their fit and finishes or at their upper end. So I want to leave myself that room in there to have a range and kind of justify where I'm at. So I have 4 subject properties. All of them have closed. Those are all great. So I'm going to go ahead and like I said, in the past, I would, if there were more than 4, I would open up each property, look at the photos, see kind of how it looks and everything else like that. But in this case, since we just have the 4 properties, we're going to use these 4 properties right here, and that's good enough. So you've done your background, you've found out about the home, you've ran your search, and now you have your subject properties, and we're actually going to start doing the CMAs right now. As I said, the first one that we look at is what we call a quick and dirty CMA. That one's just done through Paragon. You come over to where it says reports, click on reports, and close this. Down here in the reports, you have a drop-down arrow that says CMA. You click on CMA, you have the quick view, the summary, and the spreadsheet. What this does is this prepares a very quick CMA for you. And what the quick view does is it just lines up all 4 comparables, and it gives you just a little bit of information on every one of them. It does not, however, in any of these quick ones, it does not, however, relate back to your subject property. So you can't, it doesn't compare you to the subject property. It just shows you what you've selected in the area. So here are 4 properties. You can customize these fields a little bit, but as you can see, it gives you the original price, asking price, sold price, all that other stuff is in here. That's called the quick view. The other thing, the other option you have is the CMA Summary. This is the one I use the most. The CMA Summary should be loading. It is loading. It's just taking a minute. Why is it taking so long? There it is. So this is the summary. The CMA Summary shows the high list price and sold price, the low, the average, the median. It gives you the properties and address and all this other information up here. So your potential clients can say, okay, the average asking price was $472, and the average sale price was $476. You had a high of list price of $520 and a low of $424. That kind of sets my range right in there. If we had pendings and actives, those would also appear here as a separate blocks. Just like we would have residential sold, it would say residential active and residential pending. So you would be able to see there would be all those different sections in there. The thing I like about this, even though it doesn't compare you back to your subject property, all these fields here and what information you want to show is all customizable. I had a client that just was coming down to bedroom size. For some reason, he was fixated on the size of the bedrooms. And so what I actually did was I got rid of some of these columns here, and I just included the bedroom sizes for each bedroom, because he was sure that the bedroom sizes were different, meaning that they were really small and everything else. And I said, the homes we've been in are all the same. And I'm talking about I was using this format to help with a buyer, get them motivated a little bit. As I said, the quick and dirty CMA is really good to use with buyers and potential sellers. To customize any of these fields, you come up to here where it says customize, click on fields. You have to make sure that you select the spreadsheet you want to change. In this case, we want to change the solds. So here are all the tabs I have in my sold one. If I wanted to get rid of, for instance, the below grade square foot finish, you click on that and hit remove, and it moves it back to this side. If you want to search for something instead of going through this whole scrolling all the way through and finding it, if you start typing up here, we'll just put in square footage. these are the ones I haven't used yet. You have price per square foot or total square foot finish. You could add those in here if you wanted to. If I wanted to find out about, just bedroom sizes, like I was talking about. Bedroom 1, you can do the level, the width, the length. You can just click on these and you will add them over onto what's going to show up in your table. And then once something's in your table, all you do is click on it to move the direction you want it to be in, and click on save, and then it'll change all this up here for you. So right now, if I was going, this gives me a quick view of what's going on in a home. It's in a neighborhood for subject property. It gives me enough information that I use this also when I go into CMAs, kind of like as a quick talking point, so I can write notes down. And this is also a great tool. The quick and dirty CMA is if we were going, let's say I had a buyer that wasn't quite sure or comfortable where they wanted to be with the pricing on a home, I can kind of show them what the neighborhood is doing right now as well with the 4 properties. So there's a lot of uses that you can use with the quick and dirty CMA. The last hot tab I want to show you is the CMA spreadsheet, which again, basically, you take the information by going to customize, and it shows you what's going to be up here across all those column headings. I rarely have used the spreadsheet. My go-to when I do a quick and dirty is the CMA summary. This is also great if you happen to be working with investors and they kind of want to know what's going on in the neighborhood. Again, if we have pendings or actives, those would also show. So running one of these real quick, getting your column set how you need to, that makes it real easy. But this is a great one to use if you just want to get some quick information on a neighborhood, either for a possible listing, working with some buyers and helping them to feel comfortable about a price range, or investors that just kind of want to know what things are going for in a neighborhood. So that's what we call the quick and dirty CMA. So with that, I'm going to go, do we have any questions? I'm not seeing any, so we'll go from that. Okay, so now moving along. Now I'm going to do the formal CMA through Cloud CMA. This one's a little bit more elaborate. This is something you can practice on with your own home, just finding properties, picking up a property and doing your searches, and then creating your own CMA. The reason why I say to practice with it is from the time I get a call to the time I have a completed CMA, usually is right around an hour and a half by the time I get all the information pulled together and everything else. So that means in today's market, if someone calls me up, I can set an appointment with them for 2.5 hours now to be at their house. And I'm going to walk in with the CMA for them. If you're not very familiar with the system, it's going to take you a little longer. So we go back to our search, our main search board that we had, where those 4 properties are. And apologize for my computer running slow here. It's running too slow. If we were in a real classroom, I could talk to you or see if anybody had any questions, but we're not. The Msl Default Spreadsheet, which is right here. We have our 4 subject properties. They have to be checked in order to go to Cloud CMA, which they are. You have 2 ways to get there. You can either come up here to this electrical looking cord that says Actions, and you can go to Cloud CMA right here. Or, yeah, that's where you go to take these and import the information to Cloud CMA. Sorry, I was thinking of something else. You just click Actions, Cloud CMA, and this will take you right away to Cloud CMA, and you'll begin your CMA process. Knowing how to do a really good CMA, that gets you looking really good, and it gets back to what I started with. It helps differentiate you from all the information they're going to just get online that, in a lot of times, isn't even that accurate. So, this is where you want to know how to do one of these really well. Okay, the first thing you do is name the report. I typically name it the whoever the people are. In this case, it was James and Carol Sedlock. And that's just what I'm going to name the report. You could call it. That's who my clients are, and that's also what's going to appear kind of like as the title of your CMA. So I just whoever the clients are, put it in there. If you have private notes, you fill in this area. The private notes do not show up on anything that you're going to publish or is public facing. So you can, if you want to put notes in there, that will help you remember certain things. That's fine too. The listings, there are two things you can do when you start a CMA. You can use Cloud CMAs quick and dirty. I do not recommend that you use this at all. Take the time to do the search. Click on the action link that brings you into Cloud CMA, and what it does is it automatically imports those MLSs that we had. Okay, the reason I don't recommend you doing these is it's just computer generated. They really don't look at the properties. If you want to show your worth to your client, you want to make sure you go through and look at the subject properties that you're going to be using as comparables. Up here is the address, and I'll start typing that in. A lot of times it does default Balmoral Court, Sterling Heights right here. And all right, it's showing as 2 baths. Okay, 2,700 square feet. There is no photo right now, and I'll show you what it looks like without a cover photo. Now, what I did when I pulled it up on BSNA, if you have time to drive by the home and snap a photo of the house, you can do that. If you don't, and if there's something on a public website like on BSNA, you can download that photo here and it changes the look of your cover. For right now, I'm going to walk you through with no cover photo, and then I'll show you what it looks like if we drop in the photo that I pulled off of BSNA. There's advanced information here. You got the lot size, the year built, garage area. You can fill in all this if you want. You don't need to. We already have the listings we want to use, so we come to this green square or this green square, either one, and we click on Fetch Listings. And what this action does is it takes you to the next page, so to speak, in preparing your report, where it pulls all your listings together. The nice thing with Cloud CMA versus the quick and dirty version is in Cloud CMA, it's going to compare everything back to the subject property. And in this case, our subject property is right here. I don't get into setting a price. I write up a price range for that. Again, I haven't seen this home, so I don't want to tell them what their home is worth. I didn't give them a range based on what my my search showed. And during conversation with them, I'm going to let them set their own price. That's how I choose to do it. If you want to put a price in here, you can. And that will, you can also generate a net sheet from here as well. Here are the listings that they pulled up. Right now, they have, you can select an order. You can go by bedrooms, date on, right now they have them by baths, list date, list price. I'm gonna go by sold price. And this is highest to lowest, lowest to highest. I want that. That's just how I want the report to look. Over here allows you to come in and do details and adjustments for each home. Personally, I don't get into doing details and adjustments. I don't keep up enough with what current cost of constructions are. So I'm not going to say to one home, well, they have a finished basement, so you know, I'm going to deduct $20,000 because their basement was finished better than the other ones. I'm not going to look at that, and I'm not going to physically make those adjustments on the CMA. I'll bring it up to the client if I walk through their home and they call their basement finished and it's just carpeting and a couple block walls painted, versus one of the homes we're comparing it against had a full-blown, all the walls were drywalled, full finished ceiling, nice carpeting, you know, and all that. But I'm not going to try to estimate what that cost of construction is. If you feel comfortable by doing that, by all means, go ahead and you can make your adjustments right here by clicking on adjustments. all you have to do is type in something here in the value, whether it's a plus or an add, and it changes this price down here. I am not, like I said, I'm not gonna do any adjustments for any of my properties. I tend to stay away from that. I just let the client see, what the homes are at, and I use it as a range to determine, based on the finishes of the closed property, where their home should fall. So if I needed to add a listing for some reason, all I have to do is click here and say add a listing, put that MLS in here, and it will add it to my search, to my report. I like the order that these are in. I like the way everything is. So at this point, you can come up here and click on Customize Report, or down here, either one takes you to the next page where you actually start doing your report. So the system takes me to the page where I'm going to start customizing my report. Here is your whole CMA report. Now, before I build my CMA report, I always have a couple of custom pages. Those few custom pages are, as I told you, the BS&A property shirt from the taxes, which I've already saved to my desktop. I also go into market stats off of Paragon, and I pull up the market stats for the area that I'm in. In this case, it's Sterling Heights. I've already pulled that up and saved it to my desktop. And I also go to Zillow and see what Zillow is estimating their home to be. I go to Zillow because, in my opinion, most everybody I've talked to has already seen that number before they called me. And they in their head, that's what they feel their property is worth. So I want to be able to talk to that Zillow number. Either my number is going to be higher or lower or the same, but I know they have that, and I want to be able to show them that, because I want to demonstrate why I feel the price is going to be lower or higher than what the Zillow estimate shows. So I've already done a Zillow search, and I've saved that page. Since I know I'm going to pull those into my report, those are custom pages, so I'm going to load my custom pages before I do any of this other stuff. Makes it a lot easier. So to load your custom pages, you come up to the right side of your screen, and you will see, either if you have your photo, it will be your photo. If not, it'll be your initials. So on the right side, you click on that. You go right here to where it says Custom Pages. We have two types of custom pages that you can add. The first type are Word documents. Some of them are pre-formatted where you're allowed to customize them. Other ones, you're allowed to bring in pages. In this case, you have your agent resume. You can't delete any of these from the custom pages. As you see, the garbage can is grayed out. You can just edit them if you want. If you have a marketing action plan, you can put it in here. A little bit about your companies in here. This is a page I created called Your CMA Criteria Explained. I include this in all my CMAs, and it tells them what their CMA is actually about. I'm going to click on edit right now. I already did this last night. I kind of cleaned it up. It has their name. I say, according to the public record, your house is 2,700 square feet, 4 beds, 3 baths. It was built in '99. Here's what I searched. Only thing, come on. The search resulted in 4 sold. And of the 4 sold homes, the following, sorry, I messed this up, 4 homes. The following 4, based on the current market activity for your immediate area, I would suggest listing your home between, and here's the range. I changed this as well. This gives them a little bit of a detail of what I included, how I searched, what was my reasoning behind it. In this neighborhood, it's pretty simple. Like I said, there were a whole bunch of cookie cutter homes built within the same time period. If you were in an area that's either older, where different builders were building all over the place, or maybe in a more rural area where homes aren't as easy to find, you might want to explain a little more on what you're doing there. The biggest thing with this custom page is down below at the bottom that says, please note, the suggested list price range is based solely on the analysis of comparable properties not having viewed your property. Okay, so I tell them that, hey, I'm making this based on not going in your home, looking at photos from other homes. The other thing is it's based on current market activity at the time the CMA was prepared. I'm sure some of the agents out here, you've gone and done a CMA, and 3 months later, 4 months later, they call you up and they're ready to list the home, and they want to list it at, you know, what you gave them the CMA for. Not a good idea to at least run the quick and dirty one to see if things have changed in the neighborhood. And the last thing, and the most important sentence, is this comparative market analysis is not an appraisal. You want to stress to your clients at least a couple of times in writing and at least once in your pitch that this is not an appraisal, okay? It's not an appraisal unless you're a licensed appraiser conducting a licensed appraisal. The CMA cannot be used as one, and you just kind of want to let your clients know that, and so that you are covered. So I'm going to save that. This is a custom page. All right. The other things we can add are custom PDF pages. They're pretty simple to add. The one I don't have yet. All right, I already have the Sterling Heights market update. Here was the Zillow page. I'll show you how to load the BSNA page. Like I said, it was pretty quick. I saved that to my desktop already, but to upload any kind of PDF, you click on Upload PDF. Unfortunately, it's way down at the bottom of your all your PDFs that you loaded. And again, the reason I create my custom pages first, it just makes it smoother when I'm creating my actual CMA. And then they're in my desktop, MiRealSource. Where'd it go? My BSNA is right here. I already saved it yesterday. Just click on open. It's not a drag-in thing. You have to go and find it. And now that's going to load right here. Now I know I have all the custom pages that I want in order to load in my CMA. So I'm going to go back to my CMA right here. And it should have saved. Here's the one that I started. Because I got to the create custom CMA, it should save all that information previously. We're going to go in and click edit. You can either click these update listings and go through everything, but since I know all I'm going is to the customize page, you can skip the listings part and come directly up here and click on customize because we already set up the report, and it's going to take me right to where we were before I went and put in my custom pages. There are several tabs that you can go through to create a CMA. Here they all are here with drop downs that are other pages you can add or delete out of there. These pages down here are power packs. You have to pay to get them. Some agents use them and like them. They feel it helps separate them from the rest of the CMAs that are being distributed out there. I don't use them. I feel what we get through MiRealSource, remember MiRealSource is more than adequate to produce a really nice CMA. Some of the things you can do before you start setting up your different sections of your CMA is you can change the theme of your report. The theme is when you click up here, when you click where it says theme, this is going to change the color of your report. You have all these different colors here. Some of them are branded or affiliates. Down here are some of the classic colors, changes just the look of your report. You can click on these and change it. And if you don't like the way it looks, come and select another one. I think I got modern chocolate and teal. That's kind of muted. I don't know. We can go to, I don't like the modern purple. I did that before. Modern royal blue and black. Just that's how the report's going to kind of look. You just click OK. I'm going to choose the theme. So it's applying the theme to everything I put in this report. The layout, you have several different layouts. You can do a photo with a map. You can do 2 photos, photo with max data, 2-column comparison. Because my subject property and the 4 closed properties I'm using are right within the same basically subdivision. It's a very big subdivision. I don't really need the map because they're right around the corner from each other. I'm going to go with the photo with max data. I don't like using 2 photos, and I'll show you why a little later on. feel free to use it. But if I really wanted a shorter report, I'd use a 4-column comparison, and I'll show you how to change that later on as well. So for right now, we're going with photo with max data. And then the template, the font. The font, you have a selection to how you want all your fonts to look in there. I don't even know what I have right now, but for this report, I'm just going to choose Lotto. I don't think I've used this one yet. So we're going to go with that. The template, you'll select that once you start changing all these pages, or you go to publish, it'll automatically save it as a default template. I'll get more to that after we actually get the report where we want it after we create it. So here are all the pages that load. And right now, if you want to see what they look at, just click on it. It opens up the page. Here's the title page. Here is what I was talking about, how it looks when you have no home photo in there. It's kind of overhead shot. It's kind of hard to see the purple property, and all that other stuff. That is why I'm going to stop right here before we get too far. Come all the way back up into criteria, add a cover photo. I'm going to go back to because I saved it yesterday, the picture that I downloaded, which is right here. I'm going to open it. I'm going to leave it cropped the way it is. Let's hit crop. We should be good. It's going to add that photo in there. Should add it. Let's make sure it went in again. I'm hesitating because I'm seeing if my computer's running slow, or did I click on the wrong thing? Get it. We'll try it one more time. One more pick. Open. And it's saying to crop it. There we go. I clicked on the X instead of crop. So we're good. We're going to leave that photo in there. Now we're going to come back up here to customize, and you'll see what that lead page looks like. Here's the title page. I call it comparative market analysis. You can change this title. Oh, why did it not upload? It should have taken the photo. Well, we'll see if it takes it a little later on. Go to listings and then customize. Should have taken it, but I'm not going to keep going back and forth and taking your time. I think it's taking it this time. We'll see. Hopefully. Nope, not yet. All right. Well, if you have the photo, then what would appear here is the photo, and it'll look a little nicer. Again, you can go through each one of these things. I'm just getting rid of them because I know right now I'm not going to use any of those. The contact me, I like to put it's my last page of my report. That's just me personally. So I'll move that all the way down to the very bottom. And again, to click to move something, all you do is put your 4-square cursor there, and then just click and drag, and it automatically goes to where you want to. Map of all the listings it shows you again. This is why I don't include the map on the individual page, because they're going to see this page right here. You see where their homes are, and it also, the subject property is purple. If you had sold or pen actives, they would be orange and green. Those would appear in the bubbles, orange or green, to match what is showing here down below. In this case, we have 4 sold properties, and they're all red, so the little drop-down bubble is all red as well. Summary of comparable properties. That just, again, it's a nice way of looking at how all the properties were, the sold date. There's no customization here. It just prints it out like this, which isn't bad. I'm going to leave that page in. Personally, I don't like the different chapter heads because I don't tab my report. So you're going to have a blank page that basically all it says is listing chapter. And I don't like using it in the actual published report because I don't have tab pages. It just becomes an extra page that, to me, is, I found in my experience, when you give a client a page, CMA that has 60 or so pages in it, because you've included a lot of homes, all they're going to read is 1 or 2 pages and not really pay much attention to it. So I try to keep my CMAs a little less lengthy. Under the listing section, you have several options. You have the details, photos for the first dozen on one page, and adjustments. I didn't make any adjustments, so I'm going to eliminate this page. But also under listings, you have more photos. Remember, I took out listing chapter and adjustment. They popped up over here under listings. I want to add all the rest of the photos. So I'm going to get the details of the property, which will look like this. Once it loads, and you'll see the max data will appear up here on this whole page. And I'll show you why on the photos page, oh my gosh, why I didn't do, 2 photos. Okay, it's taking a while to load. Sorry, again, not much I can do about it. I'll try the photos right away. And here's why I don't use 2 photos. And when it pops up, it'll become very evident. Most agents load the photos with our exterior shots first, then our kitchen shots, or in some semblance of an order. They're not just all over the place. You don't, when you use the listings for a CMA, you don't have the availability to change the order of the photos as it appears on the listing tickets. So if they have an outdoor shot like this, and then this is their second shot, these would be your 2 photos that show up in on that one page. I mean, I'm showing them an outside of the house and then another view of the outside of the house. It's kind of a little bit of a waste. And if you only had the first 12 photos, this would be the only thing you would see. In this case, because I added all the rest for this property, what more photos look like now, you're going to see the multiple pages of all the photos when they load up there. So here you go. You see all the photos. That's why I add the more photos pages. My details will load now. Go back to that page, and you'll see. Okay, so this is what the max data. So it would have looked to me too redundant to have that first photo here and then that second photo right here. Tells you about the property and a little bit, and the public remarks are also included. So that's what the details looks like. The next chapter or next action is analysis chapter. Again, I don't like the chapters personally. Some agents do. If you like them, leave them in. Just click on the minus to get rid of it. And then look at all these. You have the comparable property statistics. Some of these are taking a while to load up. There are some I know I don't use, so I get rid of on most reports. What this is showing is the average. Real quickly what the lowest and the highest was. It's a simple page. I don't like to use it. Again, I think it's kind of a waste of a page. Sold property analysis, suggested list price. This only works if you fill it out in the beginning. And I like talking in ranges, not giving them a hard number. This was calculated by CMA, Cloud CMA as well. So I don't like using that. So I'm going to pull this one out. Seller's net, if I had it, I would have it in there if I created the seller's net sheet. The one thing I do want to point out to you in the analysis is the online value analysis page. I always include this in my report. And the reason I include this is getting back to my conversation on Zillow. First off, this is taken right from Zillow, and it lets you know how accurate the estimates were. It tells you on the sold date how much the sold price was and what the Zillow's estimate was on that day. And as you can see, the Zillow estimate was $545 for this house and sold for $516. This makes my discussion with that potential client, if they looked at their house, even in the middle range, and they thought, oh, our house is worth $521. That's what Zillow's saying. Yeah, that's what Zillow's saying, but look at what's going on here. They're selling on average $42,000 less is what the market is saying your home is worth versus what Zillow's predicting your home to be worth. So you don't want to be the guy out there listing a house in a $485,000 market or $520,000 market at 545. You're going to wonder why you're not getting any offers. Now, over time, as years go on, Zillow's computations are going to get better. But right now, that's why I include the online value analysis page, and that's why I also upload the Zillow screenshot showing what their home is worth, because I know my potential clients already looked at that. They're already feeling, in this case, like both these people, that their home was worth a lot more than what the market was actually saying they were at the time. So that's why I include that page there. It just makes that conversation a lot easier, instead of saying, you can't just count on Zillow. Well, now I can show them hard numbers there, okay? And it has worked in better markets. Zillow underestimated the value of their home. And when I went in there and showed them that homes were closing $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 over the Zillow estimate, they were really happy with me for sitting down with them. Sold property analysis, again, we went over that. You have closing chapter. These here under the closing chapter, these are all stuff, especially if you're a newer agent and you're looking for talking points. These pages become great talking points. They're pre-filled out. You can't make any changes to them other than the color. I suggest if you're a newer agent and you don't have to necessarily include these pages, but be familiar with what's on these pages. And even some of this veteran agents, seasoned agents, if you're looking for a little bit more meat to your presentation when you're talking, these give some good talking points for you to help you when you're sitting down in front of the client. So you just kind of look at them. Here's one on intelligent pricing and timing. You don't have to include them all. Excuse me. But it has just some good things right in there that you can incorporate into your talk when you're talking to that client. Gives you, again, some good talking points. Staging your home, showing open house checklists. This is a good one. If you're an agent that has a good marketing plan and you already have all these items on them, we'll just take all these pages out. You don't need them. But if not, here's a good thing that you can give to your clients and say, hey, by the way, kind of keep some of this in mind if you're getting, when we start doing open houses and all that other stuff. Again, talking points, moving checklist, listing paperwork overview. You can get rid of any of these that you want. If you have a marketing action plan, you can also load it in here as a custom pages. I don't even know I screwed around with this so much. I don't even know what that says anymore. I don't use that. So you keep in as many of these as you want. There's more over here. Features that sell, that you can add in if you want to add something that you've deleted. Simply click on this on the green plus, and it'll come back in, and it'll load it in there. Or you can take them out by clicking on the red. Features that sell, notes, guidance test. Chapter, client testimonial. If you had client testimonials and wanted to load them in here, you could. Value of your home. I'm going to get rid of a couple more of these just because. Why you need a real estate professional. There's another one under the introduction. What is a CMA? I like to include this one. We put it at the bottom. I'm going to move it up to the top. What is a CMA is a good one that also helps define how is the CMA created, how accurate are CMAs. And again, it reinforces today that it's a tool and it's not for real estate. It's not an appraisal. I just like to use that one in there as well. I usually have that first, and then bring in my custom pages. So to bring in my custom pages, just closing. Whoops, sorry. I was going real quick. After the closing section at the bottom here, you have custom pages. These are the custom pages I want to bring into this report. Now it's going to bring up everything I have on my custom pages that we said earlier, but I know I have, this is for the Zillow. That's why I also name them by the street address and what it is. So when I go into my custom pages, I just don't call it, Zillow or BSNA. I want to know what it is because I'm going to have multiple ones in there. So it's all these ones. It was the market stats for Sterling Heights. I'm going to throw that in there. The Balmoral BSNA and my Zillow for Balmoral. So where I'm going to put those, oh, and my other one is your CMA criteria explained. I'm going to add that in there. So my CMA criteria explained, I move it right behind what is a CMA, and then I explain everything, then go into the map. You can set up your own however you want. The Zillow one, I take right after the online value analysis page. First, I'm going to say what Zillow is saying, how the market's done. Remember, it was $49,000 less than what Zillow was saying, and right now Zillow is saying their house is in a range between, around 468, so somewhere around 525. In this case, if they've seen this, and I'm recommending a range, as you remember, between 460 and 490, I'm going to be pretty good with what Zillow's saying right here. Okay. And then the other one I added was the Sterling Heights market stats. I'm gonna throw that in, I don't know, right after Zillow. What that is, if you're not familiar with it, it tells you what's going on for the homes, what the price changes are for the residential market. Again, if you're not real familiar with this report and have not taken the market stats class, there's always a residential and a condo end of it. You can't edit this report. We're dealing with the residential part up here, and it runs about a month behind. The new data comes out somewhere around the 12th, certainly by the 15th of the following month. So February's information won't be out until early part of March, another 3 or 4 days here yet. So I ran this yesterday. We're still pulling up the January information, but still you can see how things are going. That's in that area, Sterling Heights. That's why I include that in here. And the other thing is the Balmoral is the BSNA. So if they start talking to me about, well, my house is bigger or smaller or whatever, I did say here they're saying 4 beds, 2 full baths. I had 3 full baths on there, but I still got enough homes to work with it. Anyways, I just include this so they can see what the public record data is showing. And also, if you do go to a listing, here's where you'll find out on the BSNA if it's homesteaded, what the SEVs are and the taxable values are for the years and everything else. It's where you get all this information from the lot size, the depth, the frontage. You can find all this off of the BSNA information. So it's kind of how I want my report to look. So I'm going to create a template for it. And I'm just going to call it Balmoral. That's it. For right now, just for the class. You can name it whatever you want, and you hit save. You always want to either save the template or publish the report, because if I were to go back now, let's say I was at this point and said, oh crap, I want to add stuff into my custom pages, and I went back and then came back in because I didn't either save the template or publish the report, all those pages that I took out of there would automatically all come back in and you would have to redo it. So I've got my template saved. I'm going to come up and publish the report right now. So it's loading the report or publishing it. You'll have a couple options when it's done. And I just want to show you a few things real quick once it's published. Again, I found that giving a client, I had a new agent, was very excited, and they gave their client like almost an 85-page couple things with that. Number one, a lot of brokers have limits on the number of color pages you're going to print out. On a side note, personally, if I have the time to do a CMA, I'm going to email it to any one of the office supply stores in the area. I'm going to ask for them to print it out 2-sided color on a heavier bonded paper, not the stuff I have at my home. The heavier bonded paper allows for the colors to look clearer, and on a 2-sided report, it just looks better. It doesn't have the bleed through. I'm going to ask them to spiral bind it and put a clear cover photo on me. That will run me around $12 to do a CMA. But to me, if I'm going into a home that's a $400,000 home, I'm spending $12 up front, and I can talk to them about how I'm going to take care of them, and the quality of service that I'm going to give them, and I give them something that was printed in that manner versus someone who ran it off a couple pages and their printer's not real good at home and they got thin paper. I'm just going to help stand out a little more from that. You don't have to. That's just something I do. If I have the time to do it, and I try not to get a whole lot of pages for that reason as well. I want to view the PDF to make sure I like the way the report looks. So here's going to come the report. It's going to pop up, and right now I have 38 pages. The only other thing I want to caution you is it automatically defaults to the day you publish the report. So if I was doing this 3 days ahead of time, this date, if I was going to present this on the 13th and I ran it today, you can't change that date. So you got to at least run the cover page on the day you're going to do the report. That's just a little side note. If you're a little ADD about the dates all lining up, that's just something to keep in mind. You can't change that. Here are all my pages in here. Here's my criteria explained with my disclaimer on the bottom, just all in the order that I had everything. This is where I want to talk to you about the report. When you start including all the photos, this is what adds a lot of length to your report. And stuff like this where the public remarks takes you down to one page and you just have 2 lines essentially on one page. And then some agents have 60 photos, and that's great. It shows a lot of the home, but you're going to have several pages on just that one home of all these really good pictures. But still, you don't need all that, in my opinion, for a CMA, because you're trying to show them comparable properties, but you're not necessarily trying to show them everything about the other person's home. That's my opinion. So what I would do is I would come back up to the CMA, and I'm going to come back up here to customize, and back here, oh, I'm sorry, on listings. Oh, sorry, no, customize. My mistake. Little brain squeeze here. On the customize, remember when I talked about the layout, the photos, and all that other stuff? I have 4, so I'm going to go 4 column comparisons because I have 4 subject properties. And now I'm just going to keep the details with the max amount. No photos, because as we saw, the first page was basically all exterior shots. There were no interior shots. And none of the rest of the photos. I'm going to leave everything else the same. And then I'm going to, now we went down, I'm going to call it the Balmoral again so I can find it. I'm going to save that. And now we're going to publish this report by taking out all of that, and we're going to see I went from 30-some pages. I'll view my PDF so you can see what that looks like, down to 16. And here's what the changes I made. I don't have that, for some reason it didn't load up, but my subject property would have loaded here. It gives me all my comparables and then the last one on this page. And I eliminate all the photos, okay? Because in order to accurately show the photos, you have 2 options. The first 12 photos, which are essentially, I had one home that was like almost all kitchen on there. You didn't see the rest of the house. They did a great job in photographing it. It was 3 exterior shots and the other 9 were all of the kitchen eating area. But you didn't see the rest of the home. So I had to include the rest of the pages. Now, all of a sudden, when you start doing that, it gets very, very long. So for most of my CMAs, I like doing this, letting them know what the house is, seeing all this information, and then cutting the report way down and getting to the important stuff, the meat of my report. The reason why I'm there is to help let them know what differentiates me from the all the computer numbers they get thrown at them as to what their home is worth versus talking to a real agent. So You can see just by changing that one couple little things there, you can drastically reduce your report and make it just everything look a lot better for your client. So that's how you do a regular report. You have a couple options once it's done. You can email them the report directly. You can copy it as a PDF link. You can also copy it as a live link. This was really important for during COVID, when we were still allowed to do a little bit of work but not meeting with people face to face. With the live link, you send them the link. You click up here where it says View Live, and then you could do the same thing with them via live presentation. And I'll show you how that looks. It does add some features back in when you do live. I suggest you practice sending it to yourself and getting familiar with everything, so that when you are walking the client through all these different tabs that you can select, you know what you're doing and not fumbling around. You have your What is a CMA? So when you click on that, that page shows up, and it's a good way to do a presentation. Back when we really couldn't go and see somebody, it's still a good thing today to use if you need to. I prefer to try to, especially on a CMA, meet with them face to face and actually look at the home. But you do have the option to do it live, email it, and everything. Send it as a PDF. I'm going to go back up to the CMA. Also in the CMAs, if you click on these three little dots here, you can do it as a slideshow. A slideshow is kind of nice as well. It's similar to live, but what a slideshow is, let's say the client wants to come to your office. Instead of you coming to their home, you can walk them through. I don't recommend that, but if you wanted to use this whole CMA more to show maybe a buyer, potential buyer, you can use the live version the slideshow CMA. And down here is your basic controller. You click on the arrows, it takes you through different pages. Anywhere the sold homes, there's a down arrow that takes you to more, it's going to run you through photos and everything else that comes with it. Again, I would not go into this slideshow unless you've done a couple of dry runs and know everything that is there. I've only used the slideshow twice. I haven't used live, but mostly I'm using the CMAs and getting them in front of the people. Again, if there's once you run it, if you want to make any changes, come back to it the next day and want to make some changes, just come up here and click Edit, and it takes you right there. Since you're just changing pages, you just come to Customize. It'll take you to the Customize page, and you can change all your pages as you need to. Or if you wanted to add or delete listings, you can do that as well. So that kind of is the overall view for how to do a CMAs. A quick recap: your phone call comes in, a potential client wants to talk to you about the price of their home. Start out seeing if it was already listed in the MLS, so you have basic information. If it's not, do one of the tax searches, either through BS&A or Realist or some other way to find out where you can get the information on the home. Then you do your regular Paragon search for the home and come up with subject properties that you want to use. Appraisals use 3 to 4 sold properties. I like to include actives and pending so they can see what their competition is in the neighborhood. Once you have those selected, so if I had 4 solds, 2 actives, and 2 pendings, I'm actually going to have 8 properties in my report, because I want them to see what their competition is in the sold and the pendings. So in this case, we had the 4 properties. We have all our subject properties. You can do a quick and dirty CMA by coming over here to Reports in Paragon, down here to CMA and the CMA Summary. And again, that takes you to this page right here. That's what we call the quick and dirty, and then you can email that out from here if you need to do your client, print it out, give it to them, whatever. Or if you go back here to the main search, come up here to Actions, and go right to Cloud CMA and start your CMA from there. If you need to come back to a CMA after it's been created, you have 2 ways to get to it. the first and easiest way is right here where it says CMA, and you have Cloud CMA. The other way, you can always go through resources right here. Under resources, it's down here under Cloud CMA. They both take you the same way. This is a same place. This is a visual that makes it easier to remember where to go. Go to Cloud CMA. And again, all your CMAs that you have been created will show up here. It's just, there you go, and there they are, and you can go back to get them. So that's about it. That's how you do a Cloud CMA or a quick and dirty CMA through Paragon, starting with the search. I can't stress enough how important in today's real estate market, with the amount of information potential clients get from them or is easily attainable to them through the internet and other sources, how important your worth can be demonstrated by putting some time and effort into a CMA that is a CMA of substance and value, and just not 100 pages worth of useless information. And this is also really going to help you get your listings when you go on that listings appointment. So again, we appreciate you guys sitting in on this class today. Debbie, do you have anything you need to add at this point? Because if not, I'm gonna, thank you, Al, for coming on here. And oh, I do want to go to one more thing. Sorry, I want to go back up here to Paragon. Debbie, I'm remiss for not showing this. Please forgive me. I forgot about this last time. I'm not going to forget again. Right here are when you go to your Paragon home page where it says trending and MRS newsletters, Facebook, of course, Twitter, LinkedIn. The big thing is our YouTube page. We ask that you go and subscribe to the YouTube page. We have a lot of great content on there. Debbie does an amazing job of editing all this stuff and getting a lot of these up here that all the instructors have put up. A lot of our training classes are up here. Again, if you go to the go right here and click on YouTube, and please subscribe. It helps MiRealSource if you can subscribe. If you also want to look for some information on your own, come up here to Mls Documents in the education folder. If you click on that, we have a whole bunch of information loading up in here. These are different forms that have been created and loaded in here that you can find. Just type in a search up here and it'll take you to different handouts or other things that Debbie's created or some of our other trainer agents have created and put in here for you. So there's a whole bunch of information you can find out here. And also on the side here is where you will find some class schedules and some other things like that if you need to. All right, Debbie, now I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. What I would love for you to do, Chris, at this minute, go ahead and click on search for me. I want to show you what we just released. And I just got the news this morning. That's for those of you who know that we've been talking about bringing on the Upper Peninsula. Go to a residential search. We've been working on bringing on the Upper Peninsula. And in doing so, they do a lot of work in Wisconsin. So we've had to add all of the Wisconsin counties. All right, so go down to your county field and and click on the magnifying glass. So I want you guys to see what's out there now. Now you'll see actually that very first one is WI, Adams, that's Adams, Wisconsin. That's the county.
Can I just type Wisconsin in there and they'll all pull up?
Yep. Well, I don't know if I'm assuming that, yeah, see, and there's all your Wisconsin counties.
Oh sorry, my son goes to college here in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. So I can search for homes there?
Well, I'm not sure how much data is there just yet because a lot of the UP agents, they are dual agents. They work in both Wisconsin and Michigan.
All right.
Kind of cool.
Well, there you
go.
go.
That's going to be one thing. You generally won't get tripped up. So you will notice that they all have the WI behind them. And then we've also added some new fields in there that we just got released today. So I'll be doing a quick tip video on that here soon, letting them know the new fields that have been added.
Wow, great. All right, well, there you go. I didn't even know this, so thank you.
You're welcome. Awesome. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate you teaching for us
All right,
today.
so with that, we're going to end the webinar. We appreciate you guys logging in. We hope it was beneficial. If you have any questions, send them to Debbie and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Good luck to you all. Have a great day.